Hello everyone! Today we are talking about plotting using Kanban as a management system for taking all of these thoughts in our heads and getting them into a good book form. So one of the reasons why I have come to love this concept for getting my ideas down is because we have this giant section here for collecting ideas. And it really doesn't matter what order they come in, whether they are character-specific ideas, plot-specific ideas, ambiance, mood, setting. It just doesn't matter where it's coming from, but it has a place to go to collect all of those thoughts. And then we have another spot where we get to concentrate down on what we want to include in a scene. And then we have a spot to either keep things that we want to continue having right in the front of our mind, or just things we don't want to forget, or we can just use it as a discard pile. So a lot of the time when I'm writing, I actually don't really use this bottom section. It'll mostly just be a top section, a place to put what I am writing right now, and then a discard pile, which actually, here's a discard pile. A whole bunch of Post-it notes that have been used and are no longer needed. I keep them around as long as I'm working on anything connected to that book, because you never know when you're going to be remembering something that you wrote down once and you want to see exactly what it is that you wrote, because sometimes even though you remember, oh, I wanted the heroine to have black hair, you might not remember the exact moment of inspiration, but if you see the note again with the way it was written, you'll get that light bulb moment again. So that is the basic flow of a Kanban board and how you would use it in plotting. But what does that really look like in practice? That's one of I think the biggest questions, because everybody's brain works a little bit differently. Some people have very linear brains. They write linearly. They start at the beginning, they finish at the end, and that's it. Other people jump all over the place. Some people start with character development and really fleshing out the character, and then they worry about the plot from there. Some people write scenes as they come to them. Everybody's a little bit different, and I want you to be you. But for the purpose of today, we're just going to go over generally how I use the board and how I plot. It's very much idea-based. A lot of feelings and emotions. If I see something, I pin it and I write a note on here and I'll put it up on the board so that I can remember it later. If it's, a room that reminds me of something I have already seen in my head and I want my character to have a room like that, or a dress or a look, song lyrics that inspire me. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but I don't want to forget them. And so I'll scribble down the song lyric, stick it up there. And as I'm writing, it's still right there looking at me saying, don't forget this song lyric was really inspiring to you and your character. And maybe it will directly affect a scene, or maybe it will just continue to inspire me as I'm writing. So that's kind of how my brain works. So now we're going to do a real quick exercise to kind of illustrate how this works. So we're going to imagine that we are writing Cinderella. And so you are the author and you've come up with this idea. You want to write a story about a girl. She's down on her luck, but there is good things in her life. She's an optimistic person. Like, you can see her, and you think, it'd be really cool if this down on her luck girl actually got the fairy tale ending and wound up like a princess. I don't know how that's going to happen yet, but let's get started. And so you have an idea that you don't know her name yet. So maybe you just call her heroine. Let's call her Jo. Jo, and then she's down on her luck, and we'll just start with that. That's all you need on that note. And so we're going to put it up in the ideas section. And the other thing is Jo, she's an optimist. And, you know, she loves dawn. So she always gets up at dawn to watch the sunrise. So you scribble these character traits down. We have a starting point. And so you start really thinking about, okay, so how is Jo? So you would do other notes too about what Jo's life is like. She has some evil stepsisters. They are mean to her. Maybe there's mean girls at school, depending on what area you're going to set your Cinderella in. She has a mean stepmom. All these things are not going right for her. So you can really flesh out that character. Here, I'll even write down evil stepsisters. Ugh. And so we have an idea of who she is. And in this world, she lives in a kingdom with a king. And so they have this prince who needs to get married. Okay, so we've got a prince. Here's the problem here. He needs to get married. So now we're starting to get an idea of who the other character might be. And as you're looking or you're listening to some music, you come across a song that feels great. So you're going to write down, you know, the song is by Seal. And you're going to write down the song title, Kiss by a Rose. I can't remember what that one's called. And you're going to write down the one lyric that keeps jumping out at you. And we're just going to put that up there as a reminder, as like an ambiance reminder. I don't know where Seal came from. I can't remember the last time I listened to Seal, but that's okay. And so now we have to come up with a scenario where this prince who needs to find a wife is going to run into this down on her luck girl. They don't live in the same spheres. They don't travel in the same circles. We need to come up with something. I know. The prince's dad is dead set on him finding a wife, so he's going to throw a ball. Okay, so now we get to have fun. There's going to be a ball to find a wife. And we're going to put the ball section over here. And we're going to have guests, and we'll come up with different guests and ideas for why that makes the ball interesting. We get to pick the ambiance. So we're going to go on Pinterest and we're going to look up a whole bunch of beautiful outdoor parties, and we're going to get inspired by gardens, and we're going to get inspired by garden lighting. And maybe we come up with a whole soundtrack just for the ball, and we write a few more notes to really flesh out what the ball looks like. And now we need to come up with a reason why our down on the look Cinderella Jo is going to show up at this ball. And so she's going to have a fairy godmother because we want it to have some mysticism to this story. And so because we want to believe and hope that everyone has somebody looking out for us and the good guy's going to win in the end. So we're going to come up with this fairy godmother, and we're going to write a whole scenario for her. We're going to get Jo to the ball, and we're going to have that breathtaking first moment that they see each other. And if we've been inspired by some song lyrics or a picture, I love black and white images that I find online. They're very inspiring to me. We're going to put all of that front and center as part of our card on when Jo and the prince finally meet. And so we've done all this work now. We're going to cut it off there. we've done all this work. We've come up with all of these ideas. Some of them are grouped together, some of them are separate. There's a whole bunch of other things more than we have on the board right now. And so in scene one, we're going to have an opening scene. We know that Jo is down on her luck. She's an optimist. Now that we're actually thinking about this opening scene that we're going to write, we've taken these ideas down, and now we need to really think about what else would make this scene great. And so we want to have her singing, and we're going to get a look at what she eats for breakfast. All of this is helping us understand who our main character is and what her life looks like. And now we're going to introduce the twist, the evil stepsisters. We're going to have an encounter. Maybe you come up with, you've seen some stuff in a song lyric about like a girl fight or something, and you thought, you know what, I really want my story to have this punchy quality to it, so you add that. You've got your opening scene now. Is it as full as it needs to be? Does it have all of the introduction of that character? Does it have all of the symbolism, the ambiance, the feel, whatever type of a writer you are, whether you're character driven or plot driven, whether you're going to write down every single nitty gritty detail, like a Lord of the Rings situation, that's what you're going to end up filling in this row. And you're going to be able to see that scene from beginning to end, see where it's missing stuff and add it in, and then you're going to write the scene. And as you write it, you get, well, I don't want to put that there. I want to put that there. And so you write that, and then you write the singing in, because you realize that flows just a little bit better. And then we get another taste of why she's an optimist. Then the evil stepsisters step in, and all you have left to do is fill in the girl fight. And your scene is done. You get to congratulate yourself, and then you get to look back up at the board and say, okay, scene 2. And maybe you're going to start with the hero this time, and you're going to get a look at the prince's life, and you're going to fill up this row again with how you're introducing the hero, what his life looks like, all of those elements that you want to include in a scene that introduces the hero, so on and so forth until the book is done. And so that is how I use a Kanban board for plotting a book. I love it. It works really well for my brain and all of the things that I like to incorporate into a story, while also giving me a place to really just focus in on what I need to write right now, and also providing me a place, because as I'm writing, a lot of the time I come up with more ideas, and so I can real quick, like girl fight scene, later in the story they should have a second girl fight scene, but this time something different happens. And so you take 2 seconds, you write yourself a new note, you pop it up into the ideas section, and then you keep writing the scene that you're working on. I think it's an awesome way to write a story, but again, everybody's brain is different. If you like the Kanban method, this could be a great way to work on your plotting for you. Good luck!